We all love women, but who's the best woman? In this video we'll pit the big two's big two against each other, while trying to steer clear of jokes about their big two. Now, I know what you're thinking, there's none more qualified than two straight white men to make this kind of assessment, right? But hey, you can only work with what you got. First, the First Lady of DC, Wonder Woman. She had an enduring TV show in the 70s and a full-on motion picture in 2017. And while Diana's popularity hasn't really diminished since the debut, the same can't be said for her opponent Captain Marvel. But after a massively successful MCU entry, this might be fairer than you think. We'll be scoring the characters through 5 rounds, using the movies as our focal point. So, which female comes out on top?
Round 1, History.
Both characters courted controversy leading up to their big screen debuts. Wonder Woman triggered feminists because of her shaved armpits, whilst other idiots grumbled that Gal didn't exactly match the character's classic curvy look. You just can't win these days. Gadot has been vocal in responding to critics, but has always gone about it in a smart, respectful manner. The other consideration here is that back in 2017, Wonder Woman was touted as being the first female-led CBM, which is clearly not true. Though the movie did represent a definite shift in quality, BVS along with the character's enduring popularity helped lay the groundwork, and considering Diana's been reinterpreted and updated a whole bunch of times, Snyder, for all his faults, gave us an appropriately powerful representation without pandering to a particular audience. So the stage was more or less set for success.
Captain Marvel meanwhile pissed off white dudes because Brie Larson hates white dudes.
Am I saying that I hate white dudes? No, I'm not.
That's not entirely accurate, but we all know how the internet works by now, right? Battle lines are drawn and everyone screeches at each other. Carol's never enjoyed the same level of popularity as Diana, with the comic seeing relaunch after relaunch because no one really buys it. Carol's long been a divisive one too, with her annoying Civil War II arc just tip of the iceberg. At the very least, Larson's comments got people talking, if only in a reactionary, she's an SJW kind of way. And we got the gender-focused marketing again, as if it's anything new. I guess it was for Marvel, but this round's all about the history leading up to the movies. So, given Carol's lack of popularity, Larson's comments, and the shaky connection to the movie universe, the winner has to be Wonder Woman.
Round 2, Character and Abilities.
Both characters receive considerable training prior to being unleashed on the world, though we see a lot more of Wonder Woman's backstory and experience. Diana grows under the tutelage of the Amazonians with careful preparation in both combat and character, but not male anatomy. Clearly, there are limitations to her growth on Themyscira, and Diana's naivety is all too plain to observe when she's drawn into WW1. She's massively powerful, but thanks to her backstory, we understand the things she does and the decisions she makes. She's determined to bring peace, even if a little violence is needed to get there. So her power is matched by her compassion for mere mortals.
Captain Marvel's art, by contrast, is a lot more muddled, which is down to the film structure. Carol begins the movie as a fully fledged hero. We get a training sequence, followed by a mission, followed by a convenient detour to a home planet, where she learns of a true backstory. The sad part is, structuring the movie this way restricts our ability to connect with the character. The other damaging aspect is the fact there aren't any limitations to Carol's powers. The compassion that helped ground Diana is almost completely devoid from Carol, because she's essentially going against the good guys and has a very limited number of actual human connections until later in the movie. Both characters are well represented power-wise, but ultimately Wonder Woman is far more relatable, while Captain Marvel's a bit of a bland Mary Sue. So again, Diana's the clear winner.
Round 3, Storytelling.
For all the praise that's been heaped on it, Wonder Woman the movie plays it pretty safe. The film essentially functions as a mashup of Captain America and Thor. You get the sense that Patty Jenkins / Warner's wanted to appeal to the widest possible audience, which isn't surprising considering how divisive the DCEU had been up to that point, and there must have been some pressure to stick to the Snyder aesthetic, since he also produced the movie. This results in a film that fails to really wow you. Yes, our gal's great, but she's not enough to elevate this beyond a pretty average film. In fact, Chris Pine's Steve Trevor may well be the MVP, so be sure to jump on that in the comments.
Say what you will about Captain Marvel's character, but Captain Marvel's movie takes a lot of risks. From the narrative structure, to the lack of a love interest, to the overuse of Nick Fury. There are a lot of bold ideas. They don't all work, but you have to commend the creative team for what they were at least trying to do. Whereas Wonder Woman approaches male-dominated areas in a slightly more subtle and charming way, Captain Marvel is ovaries out female empowerment. It's all a little bit too on the nose. Let's not forget this scene, and the cringy use of No Doubt's Just a Girl. Look, each movie has its faults, and both struggle to get the gender balance right. So let's call this round a draw and be done with it.
Round 4, box office success.
This one's a simple round. Wonder Woman made $821 million off a $150-ish million budget, while Captain Marvel made a whopping $1.1 billion off a $170-ish million budget. The only other detail worth mentioning here are the two studios. Wonder Woman was a massive turning point for DC. It's by no means a perfect movie, but it's a damn sight better than what came before.
Captain Marvel, on the other hand, builds on the massive success of the MCU and the financial might of the Mouse House. Perhaps the gender-focused marketing did its trick, and many fans must have been curious about how powerful she actually is. But with all that said, Carol earned more than Tony, Bruce, Steve, Thor, Scott, Stephen, and Peter in their solo debuts. But not T'Challa! Anyway, Captain Marvel clearly wins this round.
Round 5, universe building.
As mentioned, Wonder Woman kinda fits in with the universe established in the Snyder movies. We saw her again in Justice League, where she was one of the more enjoyable characters, and we'll be getting a follow-up in 1984. Sorry, 2020. Word is that it won't be a traditional sequel. Kirk's back, so it's anyone's guess what comes next. We got a glimpse of the new movie via this poster, and though there won't be any coverage at this year's San Diego Comic-Con, it's fair to say we're excited and a little curious to see what comes next, even if Snyder's still producing. One of the DCU's biggest problems has been trying to make sense of the connective tissues provided by previous movies. But with a sequel, Jenkins has the freedom to do whatever she wants, just like James Wan did with Aquaman. The character's well established and light, and things are finally looking good behind the scenes at Warner's, so there are definitely exciting times ahead.
Despite the years of careful planning, Captain Marvel was quite clearly shoehorned into the MCU. Putting aside continuity problems, the other major issue is that she's way OP. So unless they introduce another supremely powerful bad guy, what are they going to do with Carol? Now Tony's gone, she's meant to take centre stage, the only complication being the huge backlash against the character, and Disney's apparent need to force strong female characters down our throats. Not that we're against the idea, but surely there are more organic ways to do that. Carol's out of the picture for most of Endgame because there are other threats to other planets, but was anyone that curious about what she was actually doing on those planets? I guess is probably not. Which kind of says it all. Marvel have an uphill battle with Carol, both in storytelling opportunities and PR, while Wonder Woman has been a more interesting character with the scope to bring new direction to a largely unexplored universe. This round goes to Princess Di, making her our overall winner.
Thanks for watching, folks. It's over to you. Who's your favourite female character? Feel free to cast your vote in the poll up top, and be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this, why not check out these other videos we made about Princess Di and Captain Carol? Lastly, as always, we'd be very grateful if you could hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Cheers!